Hello! I don't know why I'm doing that voice. I am now. Welcome to Zero to Hero. Welcome to the AstroPub, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paul Berserker01, Batman Shelley, your humble host and space bartender here at the AstroPub, your space bar at the end of the universe. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show. We got a good one for you. How y'all doing? Camera got reset up wrong again. Boop, boop, boop. Yep. There we go. Welcome, everybody. Hey, Chris. Welcome to Zero to Hero. Oh, there's a hiccup. Whew. What? It's Zero to Hero. Title should be updated and everything. Yeah. I do, it goes okay. I'm at the grind part where I've just got to grind up for the next ship. Stuck. I respect the grinding it out in Pyro as intended. Well, I mean, this is how you, like, I know the routes to take to make the most money. Drink time. Morning, Paul. Glad you tuned into my roll of D20 to quit my job stream. What? Smuggling. It's not smuggling. I am simply moving cargo. Okay? Don't at me. What do you think about the next ship, considering the raft and all the new changes coming? I don't know. I think the answer is still the Starlancer. Hey, Joystick, how you doing?
Welcome to the vehicle retrieval system.
The Starlight using my my luxury ship. My whole office just exploded, and I've got a D20 in hand to decide if I want to deal with it. Oh. Huh. Fun. I'm just looking forward to either Merc or Council Script being something we can earn to barter this next patch. Script is in the game, isn't it? I am on the live servers. Is the free flight over with, by the way? I'm sure it is.
Origin jump warps at your service. Core system operational.
If it's not over yet, then I'm having pretty good performance in general. So 28? Neat. The tax is going to be interesting. Yep.
Raised.
Hit the Starlight. Well, it should be like this direction, shouldn't it be? Like directly away from the station. Welcome everyone from Major Stream. My name is Paul Bazaar 1, Batman Shell, your humble host and space bartender here at the AstroPub, your space bar at the end of the universe. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show. We got a good one for you. How y'all doing? Doing some 0 to hero now. What are you up to there, Major? Just gonna jump somewhere else. It's a close one. Jump to the system. McBadgers, are you seeing multiples of me while when I dance? Okay, so just so you know, if you're seeing multiples of me while I dance, that's not actually supposed to happen. When you see that, it means that you're currently suffering from neon poisoning. So the only way that you can ensure that you don't have to deal with this again is watch the stream. It's kind of rough, I know, but like, you know, it's not that bad. Just sit down and watch the entire stream. Then you should be fine. You should be coming down from it after that. Yeah, hitting the follow button does help. Also, subscribing on YouTube. Those will both help your symptoms a little bit. We may or may not have encountered major issues with SC and OBS and NVIDIA broadcast at the same time. I can imagine that. You watch people play this game way more than I actually play it. It's not too bad. Star Citizen is a very viewable, a very watchable game. There's nothing wrong about wanting more from... Did I completely change it up? I did. Woo. Look to the OG account because I've been told it's confusing to be talking to a tea house. Hey, people don't complain when they talk to the pub. It's the only thing I don't really have on here is my not Thrustmaster, I'm sorry, they're VKB gunfighters, twin gunfighters. Fuel here. Store it. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. You have to get a couple of... The setup process is a pain in the ass. Once you figure out how to do that, though, it's not too bad. Like, building it was the hardest part. Oh, I don't fly decoupled. I need to learn how to do it, but I also know that CIG is in the process of changing how decoupled works entirely. So I'm not going to learn how to fly decoupled and then have to learn even more later. So they ship it to you as the base. The base, the bottom, like the mount, and then the stick itself. And you have to install the stick into the base, and you have to screw it in properly, and you have to do it in the right order, right position. Otherwise, it will ruin the whole thing. I was doing the keybinds, take it to the... No. I mean, I basically keybound it in Star Citizen, not in it. Once I got the program downloaded to make sure everything was active and working, it was pretty easy. Once I just got it, that part configured, it was like automatic. Okay, Cobalt. Three units. Oh, I have a bunch more already. Ha! Okay. I have almost a full load of cobalt then. That's what I worry about most, trying to figure out how to best keybind joystick for Star Citizen. It's I was already here. I don't mind that process because you can also export your binds and then look at them in the future. Save in the future. I'm still kind of in the process of tweaking these binds to make them a little bit better. People have discovered my secret, which is the Cobalt trade. The Starlight Riviera. Oh, yeah. That's just the only problem is that me trying to set it up so that it can't it doesn't pick up the door behind me is the tough part. Without me kind of entirely taking over the entirety of it. Because when I kind of get down. Is Logan copying you, building his new PC right now? No, we both copied you, X. Logan's PC is fucking ridiculous, though. Like, top of the line. Right, it's super late there, isn't it? $2 a.m. Oh yeah, he's going pure white, right? That is the meta right now, I think, for a lot of PC builders. Me and him got the same one. the 9800 X3D. I also figured out what sounds like a fucking jet engine taking off. It's my fucking graphics card. Yeah, I know you went with the newer one because it's a good hybrid card for gaming and for content creation. You can just do a one PC setup if you need to. I might be able to get a job at Boeing considering Boeing's current standards. Oh, it's super resource hungry. Henry. It's super resource hungry. It is like I do multi-PC setup because it helps me out just in general. Like, it's still expensive, but the PC I'm looking at to build for a new PC, stream PC, is like $1,800, which is still very expensive, but considering my gaming PC is like damn near $3,000, it's like $2,800. It's $1,000 cheaper for effectively a mid to top tier like editing rig that has to do only thing I have to worry about is editing and encoding and those sorts of things, and like, you know, browsing the internet and stuff like that, versus a gaming PC. So I don't have to put as much stress on my gaming PC. So it's not going to be put as much stress on my graphics cards unless I'm absolutely playing. I pretty much remove all threat of what do you mean obstructed? Fine, we'll just do a bounce. Yeah, you'll hear the keys. But I use twin sticks. I love Loken too. I love Daddy Lolo. Everyone meet Henry. Resource Henry. I'm naming my computer, my new streaming PC, Henry. I forgot what I named this PC. This gaming PC. See, like my gaming my stream PC is called Harvey, and my other PC was Dave, I think. So I named them pretty innocuous names, though they're named after actual people. Oh, Babbage. That's the name of this PC. This PC, my gaming PC is called Babbage. Yeah, Dave from 2001: Space Odyssey. The one before that was called Hal. Harvey, like no, Henry. Or Harvey, yeah, no, because the Harvey has a lot of RGB. Harvey was my first RGB build, not because I wanted RGB, but because all the parts had him. So I and also the light of the underlight of the motherboard is purple, so I named it after Harvey Milk. But Farscape works too. There's a lot of fucking ships here. These are all abandoned, but you never know. Hey, Continuum. If you've been away for a year, Star Citizen's significantly better than it was a year ago. Like, it's not even a joke. Server meshing is in 600 people per server. Not server, but per shard. Per meshed server. 30K still happen. They're just not as frequent as they used to be. They'll still get server errors, but server errors aren't nearly the same kind of issue that they were. What the fuck was that? These are all abandoned ships. Could drop it off there, which would probably be a good idea. This is the entrance, I believe. That's where everybody is right now. Go over here to drop it off.
Landing gear down.
There you go. It's free flight right now, so there could be a little bit more issues. Star Citizen is Star Citizen bug free? Absolutely not. There are still plenty of things, and you will have experiences where the game will basically chew you up and spit you out still. Falling through planets is still a thing. I'll probably encounter more than a few bugs tonight. But the experience is a lot smoother than it has been in the past. Now that I say that, I'm going to experience even more bugs, because I'm tempting fate. Yeah, free flight ends at the end of this week. No, they'll still do a free flight on for Invictus. I can guarantee that. The purpose of this free flight is to test to see if Invictus is if there's any major issues that pop up for Invictus's free flight. There should be a shop platform around here somewhere. Lean. I can't lean. This is just a inventory. I thought the middle area, this area here, would have... That scared the shit out of me. These are all storage access. These are definitely... Storage access. Storage access. There's shops here. He is active. Okay. Took a shot at me. Are those shots? That's an Aurora. I'm going to buy real quickly and get out of here. Luckily, I loaded up on the other side, so... It's an oxycutter multi-tool? Okay. I could buy more ammo for this thing. What do you say, chat? Do I risk it? Of course I risk it. This is 0 to hero. Oh, I have one thing of cobalt still. No, I'll leave it there. What bug? Oh, this one. The one that's refueling, the refueling sound. I basically entirely, like, tuned it out. There's a lot of audio problems with Star Citizen. I'm just glad they got the freaking contextual, like, music to work. How pretty this is, chat. Look at it. Star Citizen at 1440p, basically max settings. Spaceship.
You can take away my space suit.
Suit.
You can even take away my space lasers.
No pew-pews.
But you can never, ever take away my space game.
Kapam just resubscribed for 54 months. Ready to shift your perspective from the ordinary to the extraordinary? Ready to reset your expectations to the everyday to the highest heights? From breathtaking views, incredible dining, Crusader is calling. Stay at the luxurious accommodations, tour Empire-class shipyards and bask in a sunset that is truly unforgettable. With shuttles arriving daily, what are you waiting for? Come, visit Orison, the city in the clouds.
Thank you, Q-Pen, for that 6 months of support. You're very important, pupper, very impressed, Mr. Very pedestrian. You rock. Shots and cheers and chat, y'all. Shots and cheers. See, like, I'm gonna be partially mad when CIG finally releases ads that are not just Orison, but also not. That is loud as fuck. It's going okay. Oh, I am finally done My tooth journey is finished. I have all my teeth again. Well, one's fake, but... That was this morning. I went in, they installed it, and... Sorry, I couldn't hear over how loud its bucket was, yeah. I'll do my best not to break this one. It's weird, because I think it's still just really tight. It's like I can feel like it pushing against my other teeth. I'm sure it'll go away eventually, but... No, modern dentures are pretty good. It's called a crown, even though it's not really a crown. It's like a denture crown. The only thing I have to worry about is that, you know, in 30 years, my tooth is going to look weirder compared to my other teeth. And I have to just make sure I clean it. When I said my teeth look ugly? No, they will look ugly in 10 years. They're perfectly fine now. Because I'm gorgeous. I'm flawless. A flawless human being. You're going to say my dad. My dad's dead. So my dad's teeth probably look... well, I know what my dad's teeth look like because they're ash. It's crazy how, like, basically you can only tell that it's a fake tooth if I, like, did this and I just, like, stared at you for, like, 5 or 6 minutes for you can see the difference between, in terms of, like, coloration. But it's almost exactly the same coloration. I mean, I did spend like $6,000 on these damn teeth. And yes, American healthcare system. I was lucky that I had the money. That was with insurance, by the way. And no, I didn't have $6,000 laying around. I have a health savings account that I basically did nothing with for 3 years. And it wiped that out. $6,000 with insurance. That was with insurance. Without insurance, it was $15,000. The ironic part is that I think a good 2,000 of it was for something that I didn't realize what they were actually selling me. It was for, the, a fake tooth that you kind of like, you put in like a retainer in. And I was like, oh, after I realized that it was already too late and they already made it for me, I was like, oh shit. Because I thought it was like required for the process to happen. So I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I have the money, so it'll be fine. Again, it's nothing crazy because it was all in my health savings account, and luckily, hopefully I don't have to use it anymore, but I'm also pretty much back up to that point right now. Well, it was more like it was a cosmetic, but it was the thing is that it was going to take 9 months to get a new tooth in. So they're like, if you need this for your job or for, and it makes it easier to speak and all these sorts of things. And I was like, this is one of the options. And I was like, okay. It's like, you don't have to, but you can do this. But I misunderstood them because I thought it was part of the process. Because they were also talking about the idea of like basically taking bits of these other two teeth and like kind of welding them together onto my remaining tooth bit. There's a place in Tijuana that'll put veneers on for $400 a tooth. They're legit. Well, this is just like a brand new tooth. Yeah, dental. The thing is that dental and dental is much worse. But like eye care and dental aren't even really that well covered in the U.S. because almost nobody has it. So it's like super cheap to get it because almost nobody has it. But then when you actually need to use it, it's super fucking expensive. And because we have awful fucking food here that destroys your teeth and pretty much everything in our water, other than fluoride, ironically, which the government now wants to remove, destroys the teeth. Our teeth, our health is fucking god awful. So if you need to get like corrective changes, yeah, luxury bones. Well, see, that's the thing, Darj. That used to be the case in America. And then in like the 90s, a bunch of health insurance companies basically went broke. And in order to save them, they're like, you know what you should do? Instead of doing this like you've been doing, you should do this like making as much money as humanly possible. You should gouge the fuck out of people. That's how you should do this. And don't even get me started on VA stuff. Fucking healthcare, the healthcare you're given as veterans, it's like, hey, it's free for all these things, except for when it's not. And every time we want to make an excuse as to not covering you because it's not part of your service. It's like, yeah, my chronic back pain and my teeth being fucked up has nothing to do with the fact that I lived half of my life choking fucking diesel fumes or like lived in god awful places where I was barely sleeping or anything like that. Well, see, my problem with insurance is more to do with an economics point of view. Because if the goal is to cover everyone who needs insurance, I have to wait a little bit. Then we should probably, do that. And there are ways to do it without giving universal health care. It's funny, I have TMJ in my records, but the VA told me that it's not service connected because I had the filling when I was 11 years old. Ah, fuck that. So this is going to be getting on my soapbox a little bit. But the biggest problem I have is that the current, welcome to the AstroPub, by the way, this is what we do. This is what I do often. No, it's, I don't know how well universal healthcare in the United States would work. Mostly because the problem with universal healthcare with the United States is that like 40 to 50% of Americans do not live within like a reasonable distance from a hospital, which is not the same case as Europe and a lot of other places that have done universal healthcare. Even places like Canada, the majority of people in Canada live near a city because no one lives out in the middle of nowhere. So with America having such a high population of people who just literally do not live near a healthcare clinic, it becomes a lot more difficult for you to give a higher quality of care for those people. And it could even be worse. But there are systems in place in other places like Indonesia, which aren't perfect, but would work well with Americans and give more people better care and more quality, like more care and better quality of care. And their system is basically a hybrid service where they have some healthcare systems out there to cover people who are too poor to afford through like working stuff. But the government basically gives I think everyone in Indonesia a health savings account that they pay into regularly. So they cover people with health insurance and they give everyone a health savings account so that you have an incentive. So you still have to like purchase healthcare insurance and you still have to like pay for them, but effectively everyone is covered because everyone is going to have access to some funds to be able to pay for whatever they need to. And if you're super healthy, then you just have this big hoard of money you can put in your use in case something goes wrong. Or for other things like, you're having a child, you can use that to help pay off that. And so the hospitals still get paid money so they can stick around in places that are remote because Indonesia is just a bunch of tiny islands. And that's similar to the United States where like a lot of people who live in the middle of nowhere, Nebraska, it's not a lot of people live in nowhere, Nebraska, but there's a lot of people in that situation. Sorry. Yeah, and I agree. Nonprofits should be enforced. Question: do you think about RNG mechanics in Star Citizen, like the ones we have in World of Warcraft? I don't mind them for loot. I don't like them for other things. No problem, Harrison. I think RNG works as a knife for loot things, but I don't like the idea of having RNG determine a lot of factors when it comes to like progression. I also think there should be guaranteed spawns. So there should be things that guaranteed to spawn at certain locations. So because that will also encourage people to fight over it. A line in mine. Great example of that. Yeah, I don't like that idea. Critical failure, attritions do 5s do 0 damage. I don't like that. I also don't like the idea of having like RNG be a factor in sort of breaking down. I think wear and tear should have direct like responses. So like every shot will do this amount of damage to your own weapons. And then different tracking that sort of damage over time. It could be generic if we need to. And then that's the thing that causes misfires. Then we have like things like misfires. That could be an RNG chance, just a dice roll based off of the damage, but eventually scaling up. Because if it's RNG based off of the statistics of a item that you have, where you have direct input over it, that makes more sense than having RNG just sort of decide that your perfectly working gun now breaks. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Well, I mean, it could be an ammo failure that breaks a gun. Yeah, true. But that shouldn't be an RNG thing. It shouldn't be like you have your magazine has a 60% chance to have an ammo failure in it. A bad ammo round or whatever. It should just be there are when you purchase something, it has a quality, and that quality can determine how much if there's a possibility of an ammo failure in there. Yeah, basically buy cheap ammo, get cheap responses. Well, doesn't when you're playing a game that doesn't have stats on armor, let alone percentage skill ups, what do you expect? That's what happens. You put the cart before the horse. There is percentage which is not shown in game. You don't show it currently. Oh fuck! Someone already purchased all of it. I'm gonna have to wait a little longer. Go up. I'm afraid about how RNG will loot like dungeons in WoW, where you earn a token after a long, hard mission, and they use the lottery to earn a potential part of armor. Well, see, that's the reason why I like the script idea that they're doing, the favors. There should always be a chance, there should always be a guaranteed number of script you should get at like an event like a Line in Mine. So like script or tokens, or we joked in the past called Banu Buck, which is basically what favors are now. But a MacGuffin that you can then, to another means of exchange that you can turn in for something else. I still like the idea of having this latinum that you can then go to a specific vendor and turn in that latinum for a random assortment of goods. And if you don't like any of those goods, you can save it and wait for another random pool. So you always have a chance of getting it, and then you can wait for something you want with that token. MacGuffin should be a tool. Yeah, Wicklow. But Wicklow has a set number that they always have available for those tokens. So like there's always these things. I want a random, like a churning pool that happens. Like a daily, a weekly, a monthly, and whatever that will change every day, month, and week. No problem, Harrison. Kind of. Not really like a lottery wheel, because it's not like you're putting in a chip and maybe you'll get it. It's like you get it when you turn it in, but it's like you have a set, which is the daily available goods. And it's like a helmet, a rifle, and a helmet, a rifle, a backpack, and a shield generator. And then the next day, those items change to being a power plant, a pistol, a chest armor piece, and a tractor beam. And they're all unique, high quality stuff. So if you want it, you have to pay for it right then and there. You could pay for it and get it no matter what, but it's just sort of, it rotates. So that way you always have a fresh pool. And then you have another one that just rotates every week, and another one that rotates every month or every patch or whatever. And they can just be pools that you can then cycle through to see if you like stuff like that. Does Warframe do that? More like Chuck E. Cheese. Yeah, like taking your tickets and turning them in for a prize. Yeah. God damn. I have to wait. How long until that updates? Okay. The problem is that having guaranteed rewards for group missions means that you have to determine who gets what. And they kind of already do have that. If you look at conflict zones, in CZs, almost all of the CZs, you're guaranteed to get a specific card for the executive hangars, so you can get your ship or whatever. Yeah, divvying up is a pain in the ass, as you've experienced, Toast. So I'm more of a proponent, though they need way more features online for this, of getting stuff that can be used to craft, make crafters necessary. I agree. Those are another things to do. But until then, and I think just in general, having the idea of having random loot pools that you can then guarantee you can then pull out of it makes sense. A traveling merchant. Oh yeah, people have told me about the traveling merchant. The issue with having, like, everyone completes this conflict zone, you complete this mission or whatever, you complete this raid, and everyone gets a specific chess piece, that becomes, where did you get this chess piece? And why is it everyone in this group does it? And then it becomes a problem because there's no real scaling, like, there's no preventing 100 people from going into a CZ together, whatever the limit is for the CZ itself. And so then a mission designed for one person, 100 people makes it a joke, and you can just get it super easily. So there's some balance issues with guaranteed loot pool. Now, for rep missions, where you have to do a mission and you earn rep, and then at a certain key, you're guaranteed an item from that rep as part of the reward for that rep level, that makes sense. But that's also not something I would expect people to be able to do, like, in groups. Still not. Should have told people about night. So by the way, this cobalt is incredibly valuable. It's one of the most valuable resources you can get, and one of the best places to sell it is Golden Riviera. It'd be a large alien ship of alien make. Well, see, Darsh, that's the thing. CIG already has a resource for this. All right. Well, we're here. I'm going to talk about this real quick. They already have a place they could use for this bazaar of places. The convention centers. You could simply do a weekly convention center in a rotation where every Saturday and Sunday, they'll set up a flea market in one of those convention centers, and players can go, so they can use the convention center, they can go to the flea market, and they can then turn in these special rewards for rewards that each of those merchants have. And you have, like, an armor merchant, a weapon merchant, a component merchant, a ship merchant. You can have just different merchants that are there that you can then exchange with. And it's just the weekly flea market that you can go get them. And it just, so that way CIG is already using assets they already have, and they can include some sort of, like, guaranteed loop. See, I want all the armors to become cosmetic with slots in them. Like light has a slot pool, medium has a different, etc. Stats are plugged in and can be swapped on, like OC bench, customize all the things. I agree. But I still think there should also be some base stats, which there is, but, like, that's more impactful. Like, you can't fly a ship with heavy armor. You can only fly a ship with light armor, or that kind of thing. Well, see, they wouldn't have to stress test it that bad, Dave, because they could instance it. They already do this with CZs. There is a CZ limit, I think. I don't know what it is, but there's this limit on the number of players that can go into a CZ. And I think that they instance them afterwards. So they could just instance it so that they say, only a maximum of 60 people can go into this bazaar at any one time. And so when the 61st person comes in, it's a brand new bazaar and they're the only person there. They could also do it in a shopping zones of each city because there are vacant stalls, shops. They usually could. And that could go in with the daily, weekly, monthly. You have a daily, which is just every place, every location in Stanton, for instance, has a specific shop that does these things. So like, you know, Orison has ship components and ships. Hurston has ship weapons and armor, or ship weapons and like utility slots, like mining and stuff like that. Area 18 has armor and personal weapons, and you know, that sort of thing. So like they're split up amongst each of the landing zones, and they daily rotate out what their inventory is. And then you have the weeklies, which have similar merchants at the stalls, and then you have monthlies where at the in 1 month they, you know, at the end of every weekend in a month they'll be at like a specific location. I like RNG where you can find an item that normally is guaranteed in a very hard missions in the world, but with a very extremely low chance. Like you get the same thing by time-consuming way or by the effort and ability way. I would prefer the base stats to be a thing. It's still not refreshing. So like, especially with crafting, the idea that you can guaranteed a cosmetic chest piece from this mission is fine. It's tier 0. And then once you get it, you have to craft it to improve that. So if you want this sort of aesthetic. But then again, I think that's more of a, you know, less of an emphasis on winning cool shit and more emphasis on getting the base materials and then crafting your way out of it. And again, I think that's a good idea for things like reputation. Like every reputation checkpoint, you should get cool shit for with that organization. That way, it's like, oh yeah, your reputation. Like, let me check. My rep is currently with Kovalex is junior rank. So like at rookie rank, I should have gotten something in junior rank, and it should tell me here, like, oh, you've unlocked this. You can go to Kovalex and pull this out. With Headhunters, I'm an applicant, so I should be able to get, oh, you've got an applicant, so you should do this. And then rookie at Redwind. So yeah. Okay, thoughts on cosmetic variants have different stats or no? I'd like to have all cosmetics, medium, heavy, and light, to all be the same stats. And then there are special versions that have unique stats for them. But most of those stats will just be based off of crafting. And like Grockies said, like light armor would only have 1 slot for crafting, you know, medium would have 2, and heavy would have 3. So the heavier you get, the more customization you have, but there's more restrictions with it. Because that way, people can be like, I want the light armor that looks like this, that's cool as shit, and then I can customize it so that my light armor is the same as my other friend's light armor. We have the same stats on it, but we just have different appearances. Because aesthetics should be a thing in the game. What if on top of rep you needed some sort of license associated with to give them sort of significance to gear, ship, and crafting? I mean, that would make sense in like civilized space, but yeah. Just give Astro and I lead producer level access for what, 12, 6 months? We got this. Everything we just said, I guarantee you, has been brought up in several meetings at CIG. The people who work at CIG know these ideas. These, like, you've all said, some of these ideas are literally already in other games. This is just, it's just a matter of getting the actual content produced to make it work. Is that transmog? Transmog, I believe, allows you to completely change the appearance of an armor from one to another. So if you want this special snowflake armor, all of these stats on them, but you want to make it look like something else, you can basically take the stats of one and put it on the other. So you can have something that looks like dog shit, or like the basic bitch rookie set that is the god tier level. As far as I understand with transmog. What I'm saying isn't transmog. Like, every light, medium, and heavy has their own stats, and there might be some special snowflake versions of light, medium, and heavy, but you won't be able to take the special snowflake light and put it onto a generic heavy. They would have to be their own specific ones. So you'd always be able to tell the special snowflakes from the others. But for generic crafting, the basic, like this armor I have right here, is all generic. There's nothing special on it. But say I want my chest piece here to be blast resistant, because because I know that I'm gonna be in the front, so a lot of people can hit me with their heavy weapons. So this chest piece will then effectively negate 50% damage on that. But I could still put that same thing on a light armor piece if I wanted to. But then I could also, because this heavy has 3 slots, I can also put in, you know, weapon stabilization and or like ammo reloading cooldown, whatever. So now I can become more of a beast, but at the cost of stamina loss and all these other things. So customization's being modular, basically, yeah. That each weapon has its own, or each armor and component, all of the parts have their own unique stats, but each but they're all, you should still have some generic stuff that you can put on each one. Oh, Cobalt's up there. All right. Two units of Cobalt. 2 units of 8. 16 SEU. All right. That's all I'm going to get for now. Modular and requires a specific type of craft bench with crafting skill, minigame. Yeah, either a minigame or at least like a specific thing you've unlocked. So you need to have a specific level of fabricator to be able to fabricate them, or you need specific materials to be able to fabricate them. So there's like some specific requirements for getting that in the first place. So you need these sorts of materials, and it can be anything from like minables to like Copian horns to Hadesian artifact relics or whatever. I've been streaming for an hour. Yeah, I'll do one more run. And everything I just talked about is already sort of in line with what CIG is doing. Because what they're going to be doing with crafting is items can be manipulated and crafted with specific upgrades through research. So if you want to get a tier 3 Karna, you with these specific stats, if you put you have to have these specific resources to unlock that tier 3. How do you avoid all the gear weapon metas if you allow modular upgrades to equipment? Really good balancing and continuous. Well, that's the thing. There should always be downsides and plus sides. So for every bonus, you're going to take a negative. So like, oh yeah, I can get 50% damage decrease, but then I also get negative 25, energy. So, like, I'm better against blast, but I'm weaker against energy weapons. Yeah, the tweaker mods have negatives, right? No, nothing on the whole B yet, no. Hull magnets, how do they work? Gravitons. Graviolis. I think they use them in Star Citizen as well. Graviton's another thing they use. Oh, Gravioli's a Kerbal Space Program term. What are the equipments called? Gravioli? Nope. Thought I... Yeah, I know. Cargo only one side. It's gotta be it, right? No, I don't trust this. Yep, that was somebody else. About lore, do we have some recent update in lore that presupposes deep gameplay changes in direction beyond the announcement of more theory craft? I don't know what you're talking about. Like, is there lore in the game that's like saying we're gonna have deep changes? No, not really. Like the Hathor thing was like telegraphed. Pyro Ruin Station is now officially controlled by the Rough and Ready. I don't like being on fire. Let's go back there. Paul, I just realized that what they need to do, host a weekly flea market at the Orison Convention Center and call it Cloud Emporium. Thank you, Luna Maria, for getting my dad joke. My great Pa was named Gravioli during Newton's time. I'm gonna go to orbit and new CPU is great. A new CPU, new GPU, getting pretty good performance. I still have the same problems that Star Citizen has in general, where like when I get to like landing locations with a lot of ships, I dip. But before I was dipping down to like 20 to 30 FPS. Now I dip down to like 40 FPS. PG went to wave 2 and only one blocker left, lots of criticals. Not bad. I'm gonna see if the repair works. See if it's still popping off. Looks like it's fixed. Yeah, I gotta love that view. What's your latest A1C? I don't know what that is. How high are the cloud settings? Second to highest. They might be at high rather than very high. They're either at the second to highest or third to highest. So either high or very high, not photo mode. I could set it at very high, but I'd lose a lot of frames. What are you doing here? Another... No, there's not. Really don't like this. Here is one here. Perfect. We are concerned about your bilirubin. I don't know what that is. Well, I'm using your search function. When it works, it wasn't working earlier, so I stopped using it. Okay, sweet. It's a glitch that happens sometimes, but it when you hit it right, it's perfect. My name is Paul, Berserker01, Batman Chili, your humble host and space bartender here at the AstroPub, your space bar at the end of the universe. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show. We've got a good one for you. I don't think it'll look okay.
You can take away my spaceship. You can take away my space suit.
It posted! Woo!
You can even take away my space lasers.
What is his stats?
But you can never, ever take away my space game.
Loken Plays just resubscribed for 65 months. Loken he Loken Rave Pub Pipe.
Hey, Loken, thank you so much for that 65 months of support. You're very important, public, very impressive, Mr. Any pedestrian. You rock. Shots and cheers in chat, y'all. Shots and cheers. I need deets. I know it was a 9800 X3D, which yes, you can. It does have a 9800 X3D does have its own internal graphics. So taking those. $64 gigabytes. Okay. 2 terabyte. Ooh, 2 terabyte. Ooh, nice. What's the GPU? Is it a 5090?
You can take away my spaceship. You can take away my space suit.
Suit.
You can even take away my space.
No, 2 terabytes. Okay. So for 4 terabytes. All right.
You can never, ever take away my space game.
Okay. So we're just waiting for the 5080. 460 quid. Oof. Woof. Yeah, pretty rough. I know that.
Trouble Magnet just resubscribed for 89 months.
Thank you so much.
Are you closer to 0 or hero right now?
I'm closer to hero than I am 0. Thank you so much for the 89 months of support. You're very important, public, very impressive, Mr. Any pedestrian. This is your fault. You're for guys. Shots and cheers in chat, y'all. Shots and cheers. I'm currently sitting at 2.5 million Thanks still. Let's see. At 2 million now. When I sell this, I'll be at 2.6 mil. I'm not a maths teacher, no. But I saw 2 times 4 terabytes, so it was like 4.
You can take away my spaceship. You can take away my space
Suit.
You can even take away my space lasers.
No confuse.
But you can never,
Never.
ever take away my space game.
James 90X has subscribed.
Thank you so much for becoming a Twitch Prime sub there, James. You're a very important pupper, very impressed, very pedestrian. This is your fault. You're freaking out. Shots and cheers in chat, y'all. Shots and cheers. When I can fully load up on Cobalt, this is like a 200 per loop. It's 200k run. When I can't, it's only 100k bonus. You know, part of the process. If I do a full loop, yes, it's 200k net profit. But it's an investment of $1 million for 200k. That's if Cobalt is available. If I just did this back and forth, just ETAM, the straight ETAM run, I could probably do faster.
You can take away my spaceship.
Spaceship.
You can take away my space suit.
Suit.
You can even take away my space lasers. But you can never, ever take away my space game.
I'm gonna get out of here first. Sorry, Ferric. I don't like this right now. I'm hearing weird noises.
Ferric just resubscribed for 63 months.
Yeah, I'm gonna die here. They let me live. Well, let me... It was, I'm in atmosphere. That's the issue. This thing is slow as fucking atmosphere. I don't think I took any damage. Most of these should be fine. Great thing they couldn't hit anything. I think they were too distracted by all of the different ships that were there. So they tried to get some stuff. Later, George. Yeah, they couldn't hit for shit. Like, they were hitting me initially, but I think they got sidetracked and I was boosting the entire time. They also may have been like, he's in a hull A. This is not exactly a threat. And they didn't have any means to pick up my cargo, so... That's a good question. I don't think there was a Twisk today. How you doing, Mookins? Yeah, the problem is I don't remember what noise is. There we go. Good. See, I don't do a lot of combat. I haven't done a lot of combat since I got these gunfighters. So I don't know what my stuff is. No, I mean like on my sticks. Sorry, Ferric. I had a feeling that when you subscribed, something bad happens. Because it always happens when I'm in that sort of critical zone between loading up and leaving. Or arriving, that somebody subscribes and I end up getting fucked.
Dem biddies.
They were damn biddies there, Drogar. Most of CIG had today off. Did they? Is it a holiday in Europe? Because Friday is usually the holiday in America. It must be a bank holiday. Yeah, for Easter weekend. I know, right? What's time off? It's the thing teachers get over the summer. Nominally. No, it's paid. But the thing is we get paid for the contract. So we get paid like 9 months, for like 9 or 10 months, but we get paid like I get paid like $55K for 9 months of work. But instead of giving it to me over 9 months, they give it to me over a year. So like I get paid starting in September and ending in September. Well, it just means that you basically get paid for the entire year. So it's just easier to get paid throughout. So it's just a creative accounting is all it is. Yeah, you could, and some districts you can do that. Some districts you can spread it out so it's easier, and some districts you can get a bigger paycheck month to month. Or, you know, by every 2 weeks, and then you can, there's not have any over the summer, but I think just accounting purposes, it's a little different. Do you think Star Citizen lore could benefit from something like Gundam's Minovsky particles to help explain why slow speeds of things and short missile tracking, etc.? I mean, it could. And we already have that in there, Quantanium and quantum stuff, which we know fucks with quantum travel as well. But you don't really need to explain everything away. And they've already sort of explained a little bit of this. The speeds is actually a legal thing. All ships are built to specific speed recommendations based off of the manufacturer's specs. So, like, ships are built with a limit of how fast they can go. The other thing you got to remember is that we currently don't have quantum boost. Quantum boost basically removes the speed limit. And it allows you for short sprints of quantum. So there would be no need to have ships that could go at incredibly high speeds, even to make use of, like, fully Newtonian physics, because you have a magical go fast drive. And the easiest way to explain why missiles lack the kind of range they have in modern day is, do you know how modern missile navigation works? So, like, a lot of missiles, if I remember correctly with ICBMs, that's my only blind spot, is that ICBMs have pre-programmed targets, but it's based off of information already gathered and input into the missile guidance system. So the missiles will always fire and hit a specific area unless you change its guidance. It can't just smartly change its direction. It has to fire, and when it hits, it hits. Whereas with, like, cruise missiles and other smart missiles that are, like, say, GPS guided, what they're doing is using the GPS system to navigate to hit their targets. So they can be incredibly precise because of that. However, do you see GPS satellites around Pyro? How would you have a GPS satellite hit a target from beyond the horizon without some sort of lock. So in the middle of deep space, there is no GPS systems to guide missiles. So you don't have the incredible range. They could probably go at a higher range, but they can only work if they have some sort of lock. And so they have to have some sort of connection in order to fire in the first place. Add to that, you have the incredibly cheap manufacturing of these things so that the average person can purchase them. They're not going to be very effective, the Soviet method. Like most air-to-air missiles, if I remember correctly, rely on some sort of lock, radar lock or something else like that. But you also have to pick out a target from background. Sell this first. All right, 2.6. I'm going to buy some cobalt here because this is a rare chance when I can get like 48 SCU. So I'm going to buy it and leave it here. Long range, air-to-air, radar guided. Short range are mostly IR. So, okay, so quantum distortion is the short answer, and the real-world economics and LOS are the long answer on top of that. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing explicitly that discusses that, but there is heavily implications for that. I think it's the reason why they haven't specifically said anything is because CIG still doesn't know the range of everything. If CIG, like the reason why missiles only fire at certain ranges is balance and hardware limitations. Once CIG has like long range scanning, if we have longer range we can fire our missiles, they'll probably do it. But I can't imagine they're going to, for gameplay balances, be able for you to target a target that's 100 kilometers away with a torpedo and fire it. Because you also have, or line of sight. Because even if you can find a target 100 kilometers away or, a gigameter away, you'd have to have the fuel in that torpedo to reach that distance. And that distance is incredibly significant. Plus, they could also move while they're there, so the missile would have to re-engage target and move with it. Effectively, it has to be within a certain limit anyways in order to be able to hit anything. There are some missiles that you can launch in certain direction, and the missile can acquire targets on its own. I don't think we'll see that in Star Citizen, mostly because how do you balance that? Because I could easily see problems where you have a missile like that and it can just target a friendly. And I think most of those missiles are still they're cruise missiles. They're usually GPS guided, not IR, or they have to have some sort of intelligence to them. And AI is banned in the Star Citizen universe because it keeps trying to kill everyone.
You can even take away my space lasers. But you can never, ever take away my space game.
Celine Star Drago just resubscribed for 34 months. I can't be kept away. MWA haha.
Thank you so much for that 34 months of support this thing. You're very important public, very important special brain pedestrian. This is your fault. You're drinking tonight. Shots and cheers in chat, y'all. Shots and cheers. What do you mean my civilian grade missile could only go 10K target some that only costs to go to 10K and can target something the size of a barn or larger? Random question, Paul. It came up yesterday and had to ask the professional just in case there's something specific. Why are the AI turret controllers and currently the Hathor alignment cards called blades? Because blades are what they're going to be using for is the terminology they're using for a lot of different things. Like, I believe they're using blades for sensors as well. They're basically server blades. That's where they get their terminology from. They're blades because they look like blades, like server blades do. You know, when you pull a server blade out, it's sort of like this long motherboard, basically. It's, you know, mini computer. I'm having Kyle Hill, missiles and lasers negate dogfights in space argument, and I figured CIG was world building enough to have thought of it. Yeah. So, like, effectively, the answer is the one main thing, because like Star Citizen is space dogfighting. It's not realistic because it has space dogfighting. That was always going to be the case. Its argument for space dogfighting is gosh, where did I put this? Its argument for space dogfighting is AI is banned. That's the wild thing with Star Citizen. The tech level has increased in some aspects and wildly regressed in others, because with current tech levels, an F-35 can launch and guide an anti-air missile from over the horizon. With it still needs to have a lock on, and over the horizon is still requires a actual target that it can find. Like, what's it AIM 9? Is it the current one? What's the current Sidewinder? Yeah, and the fuel.
Just gotta live it the best you can. I haven't seen you in ages. What have you been doing? Price of doing business, I guess.
So the maximum range of a AIM 9, which is an air-to-air missile, the standard air-to-air missile in the U.S. arsenal, is 35 kilometers. ARAM? Okay, see. But 120 kilometers. Okay.
How are you getting by? Decided to take a few days for myself. I'm not setting an alarm or planning anything. Just gonna let the day take me where it takes me. Feels like I've been going non-stop recently, and it's starting to wear on me. Some things just boggle the mind.
Been wild lately. I thought Rough and Ready operated all the stations in the system. Flew up to this one last week. Bunch of arseholes just opened fire. Barely got out of there alive. But otherwise, can't complain.
Maximum 180 kilometers.
You can take away my spaceship. You can take away my space suit. You can even take away my space lasers.
The thing about that,
Never.
and I'm going to put this way,
Take away
could an AMRAAM hit a target which has basically 0-point energy? Can basically instantly move at insane speeds at the whim.
Sandy Sanderson just resubscribed for 29 months. Sup at the pub tonight?
Thank you so much there, Sandy, for that 29 months. You're a very important pupper, very impressed with serving us from you rock. Shots and cheers and chat, y'all. Shots and cheers. I assume that this is an IR missile, the AMRAAM.
As my pop says, you can't do things just boggle the mind. Just gotta live it the best you can. What's been going on? Life been good to you recently?
Let me tell you.
Ah, because they require to glide, so they don't necessarily have that range. Their operational range is also glide based.
As my pop says, you can't control life. Just gotta live it the best you can.
I mean, they obviously have a solid rocket motor, which I imagine is pretty fast, but it's also probably, like, its speed is Mach 4, so it can go pretty fucking fast.
Take things a day at a time, right?
But you got to remember that in the Star Citizen universe, a pilot can go into quantum mode and do a quantum boost within, what, 10 seconds? Pretty fucking fast is a technical term. Yes. Okay, so an F-35 has to connect to other resources to be able to extend its range. Okay. So you always gotta keep that in mind. Like, well, Beyond the Horizon for F-35 requires a logistical network which doesn't exist in space. So it would be, obviously this is top secret information, so I wouldn't be able to know what the actual minimum or the maximum range in F-35 can fire a air-to-air missile at without any support. Everything else about them is true. Just play War Thunder, get on signal. God, you're right. You're not wrong. Yes, it should be able to fast enough catch most ships in SCM, but you got to remember that the Star Citizen universe also has quantum boost. So if you're firing at a target that's 34 kilometers away and it's moving about a kilometer a second, it would take it about 35 seconds to be able to hit the target. 30 to 35 seconds. And it's not going Mach 4 at its launch. It's going Mach 4 as it builds up speed to that Mach 4. Yeah, that's right. The simple answer is that Star Citizen isn't realistic. But you always got to keep into account, like, there's a lot more that goes behind modern technology than you think. If I'm hearing how it works correctly. Okay. No, please don't. I don't need a visit from the Secret Service. But keep that in mind. When a plane, in this case, an air-to-air target, can almost instantly go from, what is it, like 800 meters or 400 meters per second to like 1% the speed of light. Having long-range missiles isn't exactly a good idea, because now you fired at a target which has the ability to basically just say, fuck you, and leave, and just outrun your missiles. So, with that in mind, like, what is it? 10 kilometers is the max range for most air space-to-space missiles these days. That makes a little bit more sense, even if they're moving at the same speeds or similar speeds to modern air-to-air missiles. That would mean they could impact a target within a couple of seconds, which is a lot faster, a lot more reasonable, that you can't, like, get away from them by a quantum boost. So if we rescale Star Citizen scale up to 1-to-1 for the planets, our ship moves incredibly fast. That's the other thing to take into account, that everything is scaled differently. Yeah, and that's a good point there, Trouble. You need to make torpedoes with quantum drives to make them work long range, which is likely too costly. We don't know the average cost. Let me look it up. This is the smallest quantum drive. Let me look up the cost, because you'd have to factor this into the build. Probably cheaper than it would be necessarily. Let's go with the smallest, cheapest quantum drives. Civilian D. the Flood. The Wayfarer is probably the cheapest. Either the Wayfarer or, yeah, it's the Wayfarer. It's a Tarsus drive, so that makes sense. So it moves at 500 kilometers per second. Is its speed. And it costs 1800 SCU. No, I'm sorry. That's planet travel. System travel, it moves at 138,000 kilometers per second. What's the cost of the average missile? 1,000? Or torpedo is what? 5K? So if you were able to build a torpedo with the, just say, let's reduce this price because I'm sure there's casing and other things you can get rid of. So let's just reduce this to like 15K. You would have a 20K missile torpedo. Cheapest quantum torpedo you'd be able to do is 20K, which is the price of a ship. So I wouldn't be surprised if they had quantum capable torpedoes, but they'd probably be very, very specific use and very, very like high level, like the most expensive they can get. So like long range antimatter torpedoes, which have quantum drives built into them so that they can reach a target. Probably not an air-to-air target either, probably more like an air-to-ground target. And very, very rare and restricted, exactly. So like, keep these factors in mind in terms of like the universe. So like, I wouldn't be surprised if torpedoes or if missiles technology was about the same as it is now, as it is in the Star Citizen universe. Maybe a little bit more advanced in the Star Citizen universe, but because everything else is advanced, defenses against them, travel, speed of travel, then the ranges and stuff like that has to reduce. Yeah, the Skipper long-range stealth torpedoes. There's actually a fun reference to the Skippers because Skippers are literally a torpedo that was built in the Star Citizen universe, but they were a scam. Skipper torpedoes were a scam in the Star Citizen universe. It's the reason why the Gladiator was built, because they built this idea of a Skipper torpedo that would bypass shields, it would skip through the shields, and would be semi-stealth and so it would be able to attack Vanduul targets. But it required a specialized lock-on device, a specialized targeting device, which had to be very close to the target once. So you basically had to laze the target the entire time in. You had to constantly like aim at the target. And so they had to build a specialized ship specifically to fire and target those torpedoes, which we know is the Gladiator. But when it turned out that Skipper torpedo was a scam, they had built a bunch of Gladiators for a purpose for a torpedo that doesn't exist. And then you also got to keep into factor, like if you're attacking a long-range base, planetary scale shields are a thing. So hitting a base with some sort of like long-range quantum torpedo, it could be entirely negated by the fact they just have shields. Yes, actually, you can see them on the missiles. They have tiny maneuvering thrusters on them. Every missile has maneuvering thrusters on them. So they actually, when they fire, you can see them go. where they actually kind of adjust with these tiny maneuvering thrusters on them. It's neat. They take inspiration from an actual maneuvering test that was done by Lockheed, I want to say, where they had these little like box that they would able to, with these different jets on it, these little like thrusters, so it would be able to like raise up and then use its like change direction with the any direction they wanted to with those thrusters. It was loud as shit too. When pull up a missile. Mr. 3. Okay, so here's the Arrestor 3. I just pulled this random one off there. You see back here? These little nozzle points? These are thrusters. And notice how they're on the same where the fins are. They're lined up with the fins because they're designed to work when the fins don't work. So this is a bigger one. This is the Arrestor 3, which doesn't have as much maneuverability, but the smaller ones, like the Marksman, have them in the back. I believe these are as well. They might just be in the back. But they're smaller, so the thrusters will matter more, a little bit more. Yeah, these are thruster points. I want to say there's one of them that has like 4 on either side. It might be the... Here? No. Spark. It's a spark. It's at the front. So you have the thruster in the back, and then this is in the front, so you have, it kind of maneuvers a lot more in the back. Well, not all missiles in modern day have maneuvering thrusters. A lot of them just use rocket motors and then fins. What I'm saying is that every missile in the Star Citizen universe has maneuvering thrusters. Because CIG is obsessed with that kind of shit. I'm going to wrap this up here shortly. It was good to talk about it. Basically, you can think of the entirety of the Star Citizen universe's lore is designed specifically to bring combat in close and slow it down. Because like modern dogfighting doesn't happen because you can fire a missile from 30 kilometers away and hit a target before they even know you're there. But with Star Citizen, the reduction of sensor technology, the improvement of individual sensor technology, but the reduction of like the reduce of like infrastructure. So there's not as much infrastructure available for pilots. The speed difference is so high that like an enemy can just jump away, but they also have better sensor technology so they can figure out where your fucking missile is once it's fired. So you should be able to run away if you're firing at an extreme range. Since Saber and Vanguard wings stick out in space, think the STY is also using atmosphere flight mode in space. Not that I know of. They stick out in space because CIG just hasn't built in the idea that you can remove them back. That you can like reduce the wings, pull the wings back, to like variable swept. They do it for aesthetic purposes, but Major, have a good night. Speaking of missiles and torps, I've never seen a Gladiator before. Is the Gladiator like a smaller version of the Vanguard or Harbinger? I was literally chased by one in the stream earlier today, Cody. This is a Gladiator. This is a Gladiator. Turn off my... Okay, so this is a Gladiator. It's got a ball turret and a pilot. It's anvil, so it kind of looks like a Hornet. I think it uses Hornet parts in lore. This is where the torpedoes are. It has 2 size 5 torpedoes on it, but it also has, you know, missiles galore plus more weapons. This is the civilian model. They have 4. Okay, I thought I had 2. I wish you could switch the missiles and the sides for bombs. I'd really want the missile racks on the sides to be swapped out for bombs or torpedoes, so you can put size 5s on the wings as well, and then also replace the torpedo bays with like additional missile racks, so you can just turn it into a MLRS fucking Macross Missile Massacre kind of situation. And longer range. The advantage of the Gladiator is that it's cheaper. It's a carrier-based torpedo bomber. They'll probably not do the weekly report. They'll probably not the twists until tomorrow. Because apparently most of CIG has today off. Yeah, I mean, the thing about the Gladiator is that the Gladiator is supposed to be super modular. Like that torpedo bay is supposed to be swapped out for torpedoes or for a cargo bay or for a medical bay. You can even turn it into, they're in lore, there are Gladiators that have been kitted out with the torpedo bay replaced with water, like water tanks. So the torpedo bombers, Gladiators are used for wildfires. They'll bomb wildfires with water. Yeah, EW suites they can put up there. There's basically anything they can put into that torpedo bay. They can use it. With it in lore using Hornet parts, do you think we could swap the turret too? Possibly. I don't think so, because it's like the Hawk also uses Hornet parts. I think the pilot has 4 size 3s on them. And the turret has 2 size 3s. So it's actually 6 size 3s. Yeah, Mike's right. More maintenance thing and less of operability thing. We won't see it in Star Citizen a lot. Like, I don't think we'll see in the game the fact that the Hornet, the Hawk, and the Gladiator are just... Basically, the Gladiator and the Hawk are just hit bashes of the Hornet. I don't think we'll actually see that in game, but the reason why it makes sense in the lore of the game is that if they use the same parts, then if you have a thruster manifold for a Hornet, you could also use that on a Hawk or a Gladiator. So you have to just order, if you order 1,000 thruster manifolds for Hornets, you can use them for any of those ships. So it simplifies the logistics chain. Sort of the reason why the Hawk was chosen over the Bearcat. If we do see it in game, it'd probably be a price reduction or materials efficiency. Yeah, it'll probably be something along the lines of like, when you repair a Gladiator, it can use the same materials that you repair a Hornet with, or something like that. They're 2 size 4 now. Okay. 2 size 3s. Harbinger is one size. I thought there were 4 guns on the Gladiator's pilot. Oh, yeah. Technically, the Gladius's original name is the Wildcat. So, the Gladius is the Wildcat. And then there's the Super Wildcat, I want to say. And then there's the Bearcat. Oh, it's the Hellcat. Wildcat, the Hellcat, and the Bearcat are the cats that Aegis made. Yeah, it's a type of ship. The Bearcat was the ship that Aegis created in Project Brawler. Project Brawler was sort of a logistics plug. Basically, the UE Navy looked at all their ships and they said, we don't have any ships that do these things. Let's build a ship that does only these things and only these things and only these things, which was close range dogfighting, logistics support, and ground attack. So it had to be a ground attack platform that could also dogfight in extremely close ranges and also support logistics by having some sort of like transport capability. Super niche to fit all 3. And in the process of this bid, 2 companies made it to the end. Actually, 3 companies entered, but Drake was disqualified. Drake entered, and the UEE was like, no, you can't just enter the Cutlass again, Drake. This is just a Cutlass. And Drake's like, no, but it's got super spoilers. Look at that. See? Not the Cutlass. And UE says, get the fuck out of here. We don't know what they actually entered, but and so the only two that were actually made it to the final round was Aegis and Anvil. Aegis was a bespoke ship built from scratch, called the Bearcat, which was designed to be a good fighter. But it lacked in the ground attack and logistics support. It beat the fuck out of the Hawk when it came to dogfighting. Close range dogfighting, it would eat its lunch. But it wasn't as stable of a platform for ground attack. And we don't know about the logistics thing. It might have just had about the same. But while the Hawk wasn't as good of a dogfighter, it did ground attack. It did what it needed to do in dogfighting and ground attack and logistics support. It did everything it was asked to do adequately, average. And that's all that the UE wanted. And it helped that the Hawk is literally a kit bash of the Hornet. They just took pieces from the Hornet and then created a new ship. Oh, cool. Bearcat is also a famous American prop fighter. I know. I think it's the fastest prop plane ever built. Remember, they took a Bearcat and they, like after the war, like a private plane owner took one, was demilitarized and souped it up as much as they could. And it became fucking ridiculously fast. Like closest a prop plane could get to Mach 1. It was used in air races, yeah. All Drake ships are kit bashes. Yeah, of the Cutlass. Trust me, I've been of the opinion that the Bearcat needs to be a ship in game. Because the Wildcat was also another fighter from pre-World War II. It was the fighter in World War II, but it was around. It was an American carrier fighter from before the war. And then the Hellcat, the Grumman F7C, I want to say, Hellcat. Because the Bearcat was the 8C. Let me look it up. F6F. Okay. The Bearcat was an F8F. Yeah. And the Wildcat was F5F, I want to say. F4F. So it was 4, 6, 8. Yeah, in twos. And isn't the Gladiator an actual plane? Most of the planes, or most of the ships in Star Citizen, or a lot of them, are references to planes in real life. For instance, the Arrow is in reference to the Avro Arrow. One of Canada's fastest interceptor, one of the fastest jet interceptors ever built. Gloucester Gladiator, RAF, yeah. The Hornet is obviously a reference to the F-18 Hornet. Well, the Gloucester Gladiator is the name reference. It's actually, but you're right, Farrick. It's actual comparison is more like the TBD. The Hurricane famously was a dogfighter in World War II. Chris is a big aviation nut from World War I to World War II. So pretty much all of the planes, all the ships in Star Citizen have some connection to that era of planes. Wasn't there a prototype built log? I want to say there was, but I know it wasn't ever mass produced. It's the name. The name is where it comes from. The name itself is a reference to the Avro Arrow. Almost Heroes were declared destroyed. Oh, okay. I didn't know if they ever built the prototype. The Thunder Screech. The Republic XF-84H. Ooh. They aim to combine the speed of a jet aircraft with the long-range propeller-driven planes. Supersonic propeller. Ooh. There was a propeller plane that could go supersonic. That's neat. Is the Bennu Merchantman just a Middle Eastern bazaar? It's actually named after the Yankee Clippers. Or it's in reference to the Yankee Clippers. The bigger ships of Star Citizen are often references to actual, like, ships rather than planes. They did have prototypes, but they were destroyed? Okay. Because I remember, I remember seeing footage of them flying. So, like, they were fucking fast as fuck. But, yeah, like a sailboat. Yeah, Clippers and sailboats. Yeah, the old American. I think they're called Yankee Clippers. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Yeah. Fun fact, Avro. There is an Avro in Star Citizen. There is a direct reference to Avro in Star Citizen. Now you have to understand what Avro stands for. AV-Ro was the name of it because it was the initials of the founder. I forgot the guy's name, but his initials were AV, and the Rho was something else. So Avro was a, yeah. Yeah. The arrow is the anvil arrow is a name reference to the Avro arrow, and it's similar in the sense that the anvil arrow is an interceptor. It's kind of its point. So similar to that. But Avro was a company that was founded in England. And then there was a branch of the company in Canada. Now, the branch of the company in Canada is the one that built the famous Avro arrow. That name convention is the same name convention for Argo. ARGO. Alana Redmond was the founder of Argo. And so it was called Argo because of her first two initials, AR and Go. So technically it was AR Go, yeah. But like Avro, it got smushed together, so everyone just calls it Argo. And guess where Alana Redmond's from? Nebulously North America. She's from the North American Alliance, or the Americano. So she could have been from Canada. my personal lore, my headcanon is that she's from Canada. So Argo is technically a Canadian company. I think it would be fitting since the name is obviously a riff on Argo, or on Avro. I think its headquarters is Mars, but it might still be Earth. Is it a coincidence that Origin ship names are similar to how BMW named their car scheme? No, because Origin's from Germany. They're from Frankfurt. From Frankfurt or are they from Cologne? It could be from Cologne. No, I think they're from Frankfurt. Yep, their official title is Origin GmbH. So like literally the German incorporation law. So all of their names are based off of BMW names because they're basically space BMW. However, they're space BMW if BMW said, fuck you, Germany, and moved to America. Literally moved to Austin, Texas. Because that's where Origin is now set up. New Austin, Terra. Well, I guess technically it's more like moved to Constantinople, but metaphors get muddied. Yeah, and Avro is actually AV-RO, but it was pronounced AVRO. Yeah. Shit. Yeah, I'm looking at a picture of the arrow. Holy fuck, the arrow wasn't just... Gotta find a good picture of it. It's literally not a copy, but it's very much, look, even the little spike, the little radar spike here is very similar to the spike here. In terms of its design language and everything, it even's got the little broken wing at the end because this is designed to like fold up. For this one's designed to fold up, but it kind of has the same thing. And it just has the two weird, like, canards in the back, or the whatever these are called in the back, rather than a single one. It's sort of a futuristic version of the Afro Arrow. I didn't even think about that. Like, I thought, yeah, maybe they just kind of share the same names. It's like, no, they fucking the same thing. So their names are unique because the Crusader ships were all designed after the initial foundation of Star Citizen. So when CIG was first being formed and they started coming up with these names, they basically had the idea that all of the military ships should have references to real-world planes that existed in past. So the Hornet, the Hawk, the Hawk was a little bit later, but the Hornet, the Gladiator, the Gladius, which is the Wildcat, that kind of stuff. So Crusader only had the Crusader Genesis. And so the naming scheme became something like Christian or other sort of like mythical names. So we have the Ares, the Mercury, the Hercules. The Intrepid is the only one that doesn't fit in that name scheme, but true. And the Hercules is named after, because it is a military ship, it is named after the C, not 130. Whatever, the Hercules transport. Is it C-130? The Spirit is one of those things that's sort of, like, as CIG gets more modern, you have things like the Hawk, which I don't think there's a Hawk name that I know of in terms of famous planes. The Spirit isn't there. Yeah, the funny thing is it's the Hercules, the M1 or the M2 Hercules isn't a C-130, it's a C5. That's its better analogy, but because it's got like the front opening and like the through and through sort of thing, which the C5 has. Because the C5 has like the nose that can lift up. Oh, guess you're right. The Spirit Bomber, because we do have the A2, the A1 Spirit. It's not a radar spike. That's an airspeed probe. The airflow of the nose is too complicated to give a good airspeed reading, so the spike sticks out the front to cover air spectrum and speed. I meant the one that's in the Star Citizen arrow is definitely a radar. That's like an antenna, but that doesn't need to be in the front like it is. It's there because the Avro arrow has that airspeed spike, because that's actually an intake in the arrow. So what I'm saying is that CIG often uses design language and inspiration where they look at something and they sort of modify it into their designs, even if it's not the same thing. So the idea is that, like, it's definitely an homage to the arrow. The Star Citizen arrow is an homage to the Avro arrow. Now I just want a fucking Vulcan. I want an Avro Vulcan. Fuck you, giant flying wing. In Star Citizen. I guess we kind of have that, but I mean, with the Eclipse, but Bay Systems has a multi-seat trainer fighter named the Hawk. I'm a plane mechanic on military aircraft, so pardon why I nerd out over this conversation. Feel free to nerd out. I think that's what they're called. The Vulcan was the Arsenal bird. Oh no, the Arsenal bird's from Ace Combat. Yes, I'd love to see that. What was the name of the ship? So that's complicated there, Grex, because that name is, I believe, They use the wrong name. The ship that's cut in half isn't the name of the ship that gets cut in half, because that same name is the one they use for the sort of the carrier that you can clearly see it's a carrier variant that they pull back, and you see it's destroyed. I can't remember that. There are no sailboats in the source, not that we know of, other than the ones that already exist in our time. I mean, cars struggle to exist in the universe of Star Citizen, and they only really exist in remote outposts. Most people don't even use cars because it's just not as feasible. The Corvus, yeah. The Corvus is not the same. The ship that was destroyed was not the Corvus. I think that was just a glitch. Even the motorcycles don't really exist. The motorcycles we have, like hover bikes, are mostly used for remote. They're usually used for remote outposts or like remote locations that's where it's travel via land makes more sense than space because it's expensive. Or for like remote exploration or combat. What about the Rangers? Same thing. Notice how basically there's only one manufacturer that makes vehicles. I mean, Anvil makes vehicles and that sort of thing, but there's really only one that makes cars. And the only other cars we have are military, exploration, or luxury. Why? Everything I need is in walking distance of the Habs or short mass transit too. Exactly. So like the cities and most of the Star Citizen universe are built around mass transit because it's just easier to build mass transit and walking than it is to build be able to have to import vehicles and then drive them around in your location. How do they explore underwater in Star Citizen universe? We don't have a full picture of that. I assume they have submersibles. But I also can imagine they're pretty expensive to utilize. They'll either have to be built in the area that they're being used, or they're imported. They're smaller and they're imported from other places. Hey, Casey. I hope so. I'm going to browbeat Loken into playing it with me. And I may not be able to get to do Ghost Bear DLC until the summer. But we'll see. Because it's coming out in May, right? Yeah. I'll talk from current combo, but have you talked about the Asgard recently? I'm so curious what kind of size it is. Based off of what we know and what I've heard, it's probably about the same size as a Valkyrie, around Valkyrie sized. Yeah, May 15th. So my semester ends the end of May. So like my semester ends like at the last week of May. So when it comes out, I will be in the midst of finals, and also Invictus will have started by then. So I'm going to be probably covering Invictus when it first releases. Yeah, I like the idea of commanding elementals. It'd be neat. What's Asgard? So there's a leak of the Anvil Asgard, which is the only thing we know about it is that it's a heavy transport, is what it's called. So the theory that's going around and that I tend to subscribe to is that it's a vehicle transport. So basically a mini Hercules. So something around the size of a Valkyrie, which can carry like a tank. Or like a Anvil Atlas chassis. So like the Centurion, the Ballista, the Spartan, those ones. A Pelican from Halo that can't carry troops. I don't think it's going to be able to carry troops, just vehicles. I think it's needed to carry one tank, say, to land in a space station medium hangar. Yeah. Medium, it should have the same or similar footprint to a Valkyrie, but able to carry a vehicle. Like be able to carry one tank or one Atlas chassis, so like one ballista. Because ballistas are longer and I think taller than tanks, or around the same height as tanks. So, and it's a freaking Anvil heavy transport. It should carry the Anvil fucking vehicle. I can't wait for an Atlas soldier class, so we can have the Atlas chassis, the Atlas walker. I think there's an Atlas quantum drive as well. Oh, and there's something interesting, and I'll finish off with this. I talked with X on the last InfoRunners live stream. X talked about how it could be Greek gods that are the names of the Atlas or the Titan suits, but the Greek Titans, I think, make more sense. We already have ATLS as Atlas. We've got Oceanos, Kronos, Iapetus, Rhea, Hyperion, Tethys, Themis, Pallas, Eos, Phoebe, Prometheus, Asteria, Dione, Leto. The ATLS is a Titan, yes, which is an Atlas. Kraken isn't a Greek god, but it could be put in there. Like, what I would call the Titan, the military Titan suit should be called the Kronos, because that's just a badass name. Your suit is the god of time. the apex Titan. Prometheus would be another good name for a Titan, or for a Titan suit. No, Uranus is a Greek god, so rather than a Titan. Hyperion is another cool ass name to use. Oh no, Uranus was a god, was a Greek, was a Titan, wasn't they? Weren't they? Is that just Kronos? Kronos would be a good name, yes. Or Uranus would be a good name. If Uranus was the god of Titans, or the father of the Titans, then yeah, Uranus. Or you could call Uranus by their that's probably their no, Kronos. Uranus is Kronos, isn't it? Yeah, Poseidon. Oh, and Prometheus wasn't a Titan. Prometheus was a man. No, Uranus was the god of the eye of the sky. Yeah, I'm looking this up. Not the god of seas. That would be Neptune. Caelus, yeah. I think it would be better to call Uranus instead of to use the Roman term rather than the Greek term, because Caelus is a better name for the combat system. The Caelus suit. Now, Prometheus was a man who stole fire from the gods to give to humanity, and was punished for stealing fire. Prometheus would be a good name, anyways. Prometheus was a Titan as well? Oh. Honestly, what they should name, instead of saying Caelus, what they should call, or Uranus, what they should call the first, the combat suit, Gaia. I know that's a little like, because it's a female personification of the Earth, but it's literally Earth. What are we going to call the combat system we're using to punch aliens in the face? The Earth suit. Or the Kratos. I love Kratos because one of the writers on at CIG was a writer for God of War. So I'd love to see Kratos come in there somewhere, but yeah. Because Gaia is the first Titan. She's the proto-Titan. The other funny part is you've got Nyx, which is one of the Titans, Aether, Anaki, Chaos. Oh, the Chaos Titan suit. Come on. Come on, chat. The Chaos Titan suit. Then there's Erebus. Eros. The Eros got Titan suit. Hemera. Nyx. Aurea. Fannies or protagonists. Oh, he's also known as Erechpaios, Erechpaios, a power, and Metis, which is thought, Pontus, and Tartarus. Again, Tartarus is a great name for a battle suit. The Tartarus battle suit. Wow. Chaos Marines, you say? Yeah, like of the names that make sense, Aether, Chaos, Erebus, Pontus, Tartarus. If you just said Uranus, people would just think it would be too funny. Gaia. Hyperion. Yeah, Daedalus. Erebus, that's like a Titan suited with a punchable face. Palace would be another good one. Ooh, the Nike. The Nike suit. Goddess of Victory. The Helios suit would be another good one. The Chiron. Ooh, the Chiron. Yes. The Chiron battle suit. Obviously, use Hades. Hestia. The Hera suit would work. The Athena would work. Yeah. The Athena's not a Titan. Apparently, neither is Atlas. Atlas is one of the sons of a Titan. Atlas is the son of Iapetus. And Prometheus is also, yeah, a Titan, son of the Titan. Now I want to rewatch Hercules. Nah, you wouldn't run into the Nike because Nike is like literally there's a game called Nike Goddess of Victory. So if you called it the Nike combat suit, you know, the Virgil LTD Nike Titan suit, you know, or Titan armor, it'd be fine. Kairos combat systems. Ooh. So, Virgil LTD is the first that we know of to build a combat variant of the Titan suits. They were not officially called Titan suits. Their unofficial name were the Titan suits. So, my headcanon is that the first power armor that was created, powered exoskeleton armor that was created, was called a Titan. Because it's a cool name for a thing that's done, but they're industrial based. They're built for industrial purposes. So the first suit, the Titan, was not built by Virgil. Maybe it was built by Argo. Maybe it was built by another company that's now defunct. Argo would make sense. They're very much that kind of thing. And the ATLS is a version of the Titan that was originally built. So it's a kind of the modernized version of the Titan. But other Titan suits were built in response to that Titan suit that were industrial based. The first military version was created by Virgil Ltd. And right now it's called the Zeus system. If CIG designed an anvil capital ship, what would you name it be? Well, there's one that was been floating around for a long time called the Longbow. I think that would work. The Longbow or the Brutus or not the Forge. Crucible's already there. The Hammer. I'm trying to think of other good ones. The Colossus would work, yeah. All right, I'm getting tired. I'm gonna be heading out. I've been streaming for a lot longer than I thought I was going to. Hephaestus would be something like they build something. Hephaestus is already basically the Greek version of Vulcan, or Vulcan is the Roman version of Hephaestus. Forge, maybe, but that was again, probably be like building something rather than combat. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. I will be back on Wednesday for a special stream. I'll be doing some more this sort of thing, and then because I got to kind of make up some hours. As last I checked, I haven't streamed that much this month because of various responsibilities and other things. So April, yeah, I've only streamed 43 hours, and I want to try to I only have like a week and a half left of April, and I want to try to get to 80, so minimum. So I'll be like at 46 at the end of this 44 actually. So 44, so I'd be, it's another 4 hours, 48. Another 3 to 4 hours would be 50 something. And then I'm going to stream like 12 hours minimum, 8 hours minimum on Saturday. So I'll be doing a long stream on Saturday, and then I'll be streaming on Sunday and then Monday as well. So thank you for hanging out. Thank you for watching. Check it out, because we'll be doing some giveaways, and we'll be doing our pubathons, so our long stream this Saturday. I will see you on Wednesday. Like I always say, hope to see you someday.